it's the big day. We're going to test our soap. With me, I have Lizzie.
Hey guys.
My faithful assistant and daughter. And we have for you today 2 tests we're going to be doing. So we are on activity 14.1. And we've already tested the properties of our soap to compare it to fat. And now we want to compare our soap to the soap that you tested in the lab, the ivory soap. Now, Lizzie, this is a little tricky because in this particular lab, students are supposed to come up with the tests.
Yeah.
You are a grad student.
That's true.
So maybe you can help us out there. When we're looking at soap, what are maybe 1 or 2 of the biggest qualities you want to test?
Well, how many bubbles or like the lather kind of, you know, when you wash your hands with it.
How soapy and sudsy and bubbly you get?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then probably cleaning power. You know, if you're going to use soap, that's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about washing our hands lately, so that should be pretty good to do too. All right, so let's do this. First, let's talk about how we're going to test lathering or soapy bubbles.
Sure thing. So usually when we lather, you know, it's kind of like washing hands. So I figure we'll pour some water over my gloves, maybe 25 milliliters.
I can do that.
And then I'll use the soap and I'll give my hands, you know, 5 to 10 scrubs. We'll pick a number, we'll go with it. And then we'll put the soap away and we'll look at how many bubbles form.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's have you lather into this silver bowl. Since we're doing this in our dining room, we don't have a sink to do this. And that'll make it a little easier for us to catch kind of a picture or an image of that lather.
All right.
I'm going to move to this side of you so I can measure out your 25 milliliters of water.
Sounds great.
And you said you want water in the beginning and then water again at the end?
Yep.
Okay. All right, just about there. Ta-da. Okay. So we have 25 milliliters of water. We're going to pour that over your gloves. And we're wearing gloves because we want to make sure this soap is completely safe to the touch. And without being able to test this in the lab for sodium hydroxide or hydrochloric acid or any other issues, we just want to pour it right over your hands. Okay, now your gloves are nice and wet. We're going to give you a piece of that soap that we made. This is the one we made using the fat, right? The rubbing alcohol. What was the third thing we used?
Sodium hydroxide.
Okay, and I'm going to give that to you, and you're going to go ahead and suds up, and I think we said for 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead. 1 Mississippi, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we'll stop there. And I'm going to remove that piece of soap and just put it down on this cutting board. And again, you want 25 milliliters to check? Okay. Okay, here's our 25 milliliters of water. Right, so what did you observe there, Lizzie?
So with the soap, I was able to work up quite a lather on my hands. But when we poured the water off, there's not a whole lot of soap that came off of my hands.
It doesn't look very bubbly.
No.
Either. You definitely have something going there, but I don't know that it's any kind of big bubbles the way we would anticipate.
Yep.
Okay, great. We're going to give you a minute to change your gloves. I'll pour some more water, and then we'll test a sample of our ivory soap.
Sounds great.
Okay, so you're ready to test the ivory soap.
Yep.
Terrific. I have 25 milliliters of water, as we mentioned earlier. I'm going to go ahead and pour that over your hands. That allows us to get a good lather going. And then here is the piece of ivory soap, or commercial soap.
All right.
And 10 seconds?
Yep.
1 Mississippi, 2, 3, 9, and 10. All right, if you can stop for just a moment. I'm going to remove that from your hands, and then I'll have another 25 milliliters of water for you to go ahead and check. And you're going to try to pour. Okay, and Lizzie, can you tell us about your observations so we can get that in our data table too?
Sure thing. So when I lathered this time, there were a lot more bubbles. And when we poured the water over my gloves, there were a lot more bubbles in the water that came off.
Absolutely. So we would say for lathering or soapy bubbles, which soap would you indicate is the better one, the one that creates more lather, more bubbles?
Probably the commercial or the ivory soap.
Okay, great. Thanks. Now we want to test your cleaning power, so let's design a test for designing cleaning power. All right, so now we need to test the cleaning power of our two soaps, the soap we made in the lab and then the ivory soap or commercial soap that we've been working with previously. We want to compare them to see if our soap has the same cleaning power. Now, you did say for lathering, ours wasn't as good.
Yeah.
But let's check out cleaning power. Maybe that will be the real test. Tell us about how you want to test cleaning power.
So I want to use some rags, and I want to mark them with charcoal, kind of like dirt or something like that. And have one as a control, and then have one for commercial and one for our soap. And then I want to pour 25 milliliters of water, again, over each rag. And then for the soaps, use the soap that we would be testing on it. And then pour another 25 milliliters of water over it.
And see how much charcoal is removed.
Yes.
Now, hold on a second. I want to talk about something you mentioned. You mentioned a control.
Yes.
So tell us about a control.
So a control is something that you don't use to test your experimental product on. So control kind of makes sure that there's no outside factor like the water or
So we're making sure that with the control, we're making sure that what we're testing is really the power of the soap.
Yes.
So in our case, with your control, we won't use a soap, but we will use the charcoal and we will use the water.
Yep.
Okay, good to know. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and make sure your data table has 3 columns there. One for that control Lizzie mentioned, which has no soap. One for our soap we made in the lab, and one for the commercial soap. All right, so Lizzie, we're going to go ahead and let you get started dirtying up those rags with some charcoal.
All right.
Okay, now that you've gotten these dirty, can you tell us a little bit about how you controlled this variable, how you made sure the amount of dirt on each of the rags was the same?
So I actually counted how many times I stroked the charcoal over and made sure that qualitatively it looked the same.
Okay, so when we can see, you'll see a picture where they all look basically the same. All right, so now which would you like to test first?
Let's do our control first.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 25 milliliters of water. All right, and I'm pouring this over the rag?
Yep.
Okay. And when you do this with the soap, you're going to scrub with soap, but because this is our control, there's no soap involved here.
Nope.
Okay, so do you want to scrub?
Yep.
And we said for how long?
We'll give 10 seconds.
1 Mississippi, 2, you counting along? Okay, so then you're ready for another 25 milliliters of water. Okay, and we'll rinse. Now that you've rinsed the control, what do you think?
Not a whole lot of dirt came off of that one.
Okay, so let's put that to the side. And I'll get busy measuring some water. Now, which soap are we testing this time?
This time we'll test our soap.
Okay, so 25 milliliters of water.
Here's a chunk of our soap.
1 Mississippi, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, and 10.
All right.
So this is the soap we made in the lab ourselves. Well, in our dining room. And 25 milliliters of water. And Lizzie, what observations should we write down about that?
So this one also didn't take off a whole lot of dirt, but there is a patch where there was some dirt where there's no dirt anymore.
Okay, so if we were to write down some qualitative data, we would say some dirt removed.
Yeah.
Okay, and for the control we said it's the same, no dirt removed.
Yep.
Terrific. Okay, and this is testing commercial soap?
Yep.
Terrific. So again, 25 milliliters of water, because we're keeping that variable the same.
Here's a chunk of our commercial soap.
And 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and 10. Okay, so I'll ready the water. 25 milliliters of water.
So this one got some dirt off, a little bit more than the soap that we made, but there's still some dirt there.
Okay, and to be fair, we only did 10 seconds, and they do recommend for a lot longer than that. We've heard a lot about that in the news.
Definitely.
Okay, so of these three, which one would you say had the best cleaning power?
I'd say probably the commercial or the ivory soap.
Okay, and then in second place?
Probably our soap.
And then the third place would be?
The control, where there's no soap used.
Fair enough. All right, so now that you guys have that data down and you're getting that in your online textbook so we can see, remember that now you can go ahead and complete the conclusion questions in the online textbook. I think that's it for today, Lizzie.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.